This is a cheerleading uniform from Shasta High School from about 2 years ago. It fits the typical image of how we envision cheerleaders today. Now, I would like you to compare that to this uniform, also from Shasta High School, but from almost 40 years ago. This is just one of the ways that cheerleading is transforming. Cheerleading is changing rapidly as it grows as a sport, and it is important to understand that it is much more than just waving pom-poms. It is an activity for athletes and has real risks and real rewards as well. The same basics of cheerleading we all know are still very prevalent in the sport, but it now has become a competitive activity that is a year-round sport that requires a lot of dedication. My following speech will discuss the history of cheerleading, the 5 basic components of cheerleading, and how cheerleading injuries have increased. Cheerleading began as an activity for valiant males in college and was originally seen as unsuitable for women. According to Ursula Swatt's book titled Cheerleading, the first record of cheerleading in the United States was at Princeton University in the 1880s. It was seen as a prestigious responsibility, as Mary Hansen states in her book, Go, Fight, Win. Our very own President Franklin Roosevelt was actually a cheerleader at Harvard University in the early 1900s. Michael Bachman elaborates on this in his book, Making Them Cheer, We Lead, We Succeed, and also talks about several other big political figures who started out as cheerleaders. The next step in cheerleading was in the 1930s and 40s. This is when women were allowed to start participating in college teams. This is likely contributed to the fact that as men were drafted to war during this time, that there was a shortage of cheerleaders. This is also the same time when high school started competing in cheerleading as well. The next transition is in the 1990s, and this is when it was more stunts and gymnastics. They started including those as well. And cheerleading's past shows, it began with simple chants and grew to include high-risk entertaining stunts. I'll now explain how cheerleading works today. Cheerleading routines consist of 5 basic components. The first component is the actual cheer. Now, in high school and college teams, the cheer is one of the most important parts of the routine. However, in all-star teams, because they are based in gyms rather than affiliated with schools, they hardly ever use cheers. So an example of a cheer that a high school would use at a game would be Shasta, pump it up, let's go Wolves. The next component is dancing. Dancing has also changed a lot recently. It used to be composed of mainly just basic cheer motions like high-bees and low-bees, but now it is much more elaborate with a lot of change formations and footwork. I'm going to show you a video of an all-star team using a dance at competition. And as you can see, it's a lot more footwork, change formations, it's very elaborate. The next component is tumbling. Tumbling is almost always required for college teams and all-star teams. However, on the high school level, it's not as important. They still look for it at auditions, but you don't get marked down if you don't have it. The next component is jumps. The most common jump is a toe touch. There are others like herkies and hurlers, but the toe touch is kind of a holy grail of cheerleading jumps. Here is a picture of a toe touch. You can see that she has a lot of flexibility, her toes are pointed, and she's hitting a perfect T. All right, and the last and perhaps most essential cheerleading component is stunting. There are 2 kinds of stunts. They are partner stunts and pyramids. Now, focusing on partner stunts, you can either do an all-girl partner stunt, which consists of 4 people, or a co-ed partner stunt, which consists of 2. Here we have an example of an all-girl partner stunt. You can see that there are 2 girls on the bottom holding the foot. There's 1 girl in the back gripping the ankle, and the top girl holding her heel stretch. Now, if this were a co-ed partner stunt, it would look like this. We have the same stunt, but we have 1 guy underneath supporting the girl. So the next part part of stunting is pyramids. Now, pyramids are not what we envision them to be, with everyone getting on their knees and piling up. That doesn't really happen anymore in cheerleading. Instead, it consists of several partner-stunt groups linking together, gripping arms, and performing tricks together. I'm going to show you an example of one of my favorite pyramids. It's an all-star team. And you can see how there's the two groups that both flyers and they're supporting another flyer. So that's just one example of a pyramid. And as you can see that these stunts are pretty dangerous, and this has raised the issue that injuries are becoming a lot more prevalent in cheerleading. Cheerleading injuries have increased. According to Angela Bagnulo in her article, Cheerleading Injuries, over 70% of all collegiate female sports catastrophic injuries are from cheerleading. The numbers for high school are around 60%. This means that in all female sports activities, the majority of injuries are from cheerleading. The article also states that a lot of these injuries happen during practice. So this means that either the groups are not spotting correctly while others are stunting, or they're not performing on the correct surfaces. So instead of working on mats, they're practicing on grass or gym floors. A lot of cheerleading injuries are preventable. In conclusion, cheerleading is a growing sport that is very complex. It began as a simple but highly regarded activity for males, but now it contains more elements such as dancing, jumps, tumbling, and stunting. Cheerleading also causes a lot of injuries, so it needs to be highly regulated. So even though cheerleading has transformed from this to this, it continues to be an activity that builds teamwork and character, and its skills will last a lifetime to those